Good afternoon. My name is Consuelo Avila, and today I'll be presenting a summary of my policy analysis on House Bill 2127, also known as the Texas Regulatory Consistency Act. The briefing highlights the bill's intent, its impact on local governments, particularly on small municipalities, and recommendations for how our city can move forward effectively under the new law. House Bill 2127 was enacted to eliminate what state leaders describe as a patchwork of local ordinances across Texas. Under this law, the state now has final authority in several major policy areas. That means if the state is already regulating a topic, cities and counties can no longer create additional or conflicting rules. Any local ordinance that does so is automatically considered void. This is a significant shift. It reshapes the relationship between the state of Texas and local governments by moving decision-making power away from municipalities and toward the state. Different stakeholder groups experience HB 2127 in very different ways. Businesses often welcome the law because it simplifies compliance and creates a single statewide regulatory standard. State leaders said it as a step toward increasing efficiency and consistency. However, from the local government perspective, cities and counties experience reduced flexibility and greater legal exposure. Residents and advocacy groups have raised concerns as well. Many worry that losing local authority could impact protections related to workers' rights, environmental safeguards, or tenant issues, areas where local governments have historically acted when the state has not. On slide 4, you can see that financially, HB 2127 places new burdens on municipalities, especially small ones. Cities now must conduct detailed legal reviews of their municipal codes to identify ordinances that may conflict with state law. This requires legal expertise and dedicated staff time, both of which come with a cost. The law also increases potential exposure to lawsuits. Individuals or businesses can sue cities if they believe a local ordinance can cause them harm. Even when cities are ultimately successful in defending these cases, the legal costs can be significant. Meanwhile, businesses may benefit from reduced compliance costs, but those savings do not translate into financial benefits for cities. On slide 5, we will talk about ethical considerations. Ethically, the law raises important questions about fairness and equity. Uniform statewide rules do not always reflect the unique needs or conditions of individual communities. Cities can pass ordinances to address issues that are specific to their residents, such as worker safety protections or tenant support measures. Many of those local efforts can now be at risk. There's also a transparency concern. When policy authority shifts from local elected officials to the state level, decision making becomes more distant from the community. And finally, the threat of litigation may discourage cities from taking innovative or proactive steps to protect residents. Slide 6, we will talk about practical implementation challenges. Implementing HB 2127 brings several practical challenges. Determining whether a local ordinance conflicts with state law is not always straightforward. Many policy areas overlap or are broadly defined at the state level. Cities must now conduct comprehensive reviews of other municipal code, which require time and specialized legal knowledge. Smaller municipalities, in particular, may not have the staffing capacity to complete this work efficiently. There is also the possibility that long-standing local protection will need to be modified or repealed, which could create service gaps or confusion in the community. On slide 7, we will be discussing strategies to reduce the risk. To reduce legal and operational risks, several strategies can help cities transition under HB 2127. First, establishing a mandatory legal review process for all new ordinances is essential to ensure compliance from the start. Next, conducting a phase audit of existing ordinances begins with high-risk categories like business regulations and labor standards. They allow the city to identify conflicts early. Strengthening communication between legal staff and department directors will also help ensure that everyone understands the new limits and requirements created by the law. Finally, collaborating with the Texas Municipal League and with neighboring cities can provide helpful guidance and consistency as we adjust to the new regulatory landscape. On slide 8, we would be discussing recommendations. Based on the analysis, the city should prioritize updating ordinances that fall within areas most likely to be preempted by HB 2127. City leadership should also develop a clear communication plan to help residents understand why certain ordinances may change due to state law. Transparency will be more important to maintain public trust. It will also be critical to track ongoing litigation since court decisions may shape or clarify the scope of HB 2127 over time. Lastly, the city can consider advocating for legislative adjustments that preserve essential local authority where statewide rules may not fully meet community needs. And in closing, on slide 9, HB 2127 fundamentally reshapes regulatory authority in Texas by centralizing decision making at the state level. This shift reduces local control, increases legal risk, and requires more administrative oversight for municipalities. However, by taking a proactive and strategic approach to compliance, our city can minimize legal exposure, maintain public trust, and continue meeting the needs of residents, even within the constraints of the new statewide standards. Thank you for your time, and I'm available for any questions.